Hello friends, how are you? Shall we start our class today? So let's go. Henrique leaned back in his chair, his gaze fixed on Julia as she hurriedly typed something on her phone. It had started a few weeks ago. The late-night messages, the quiet phone calls, the abrupt exits with vague excuses about work. He didn't want to believe it, but the growing unease in his chest was impossible to ignore. Busy again? He asked casually, trying to keep his tone light. Julia glanced up, her expression unreadable. It's just a client. You know how it is, she replied, tucking her phone into her pocket. I'll be back later, I have to meet someone. Henrique watched as she grabbed her coat and headed out the door. Her words seemed innocent enough, but the pit in his stomach told a different story. Who was this client she kept meeting? And why couldn't she talk about it? He shook his head, frustrated with himself for even thinking this way. Julia had never given him a reason to doubt her. But as the days passed, her behavior only grew more peculiar. Henrique couldn't shake the feeling that something was being kept from him. That night, as Julia slept beside him, Henrique stared at the ceiling, his mind racing. He didn't want to confront her, not yet. If she was hiding something, he needed to know what it was. And so he made a decision. From now on he would watch, listen, and wait. If there was a shadow hanging over their relationship, he would uncover it. The next morning, Henrique made his decision. He left home earlier than usual but parked his car discreetly around the corner. He didn't have to wait long before he saw Julia leave, her pace quick as she walked down the street. Quietly, he followed her, keeping enough distance to remain unnoticed. She entered a small cafe on the other side of town. Henrique hesitated for a moment before choosing a spot across the street where he could watch without being seen. Through the cafe's large windows, he saw Julia sitting at a corner table. Moments later, a man joined her. He was tall, with a sharp suit and an air of confidence. The two exchanged a few words before Julia handed him a folder. Henrique's mind raced. What is going on? Who is this guy, and why is she giving him documents? His breath caught in his throat as he watched Julia laugh at something the man said. Her body language relaxed in a way that made his stomach turn. She's hiding something, Henrique muttered under his breath. The question was, what? Was it work-related? Personal? Or was it something worse? His mind swirled with possibilities, each one more unsettling than the last. Henrique stayed until the meeting ended. As Julia and the man stood to leave, she gave him a polite nod and walked out of the cafe, disappearing into the bustling streets. Henrique remained frozen for a moment, torn between chasing after her and confronting her outright. Instead, he decided to go back home and process what he had just witnessed. By the time Julia returned that evening, Henrique's suspicions had deepened. The pieces weren't adding up, and he was more determined than ever to find out the truth. Henrique couldn't shake the image of Julia with the suited man at the cafe. That night, as she slept peacefully beside him, his curiosity turned into desperation. He tiptoed into the small office they shared and opened Julia's desk drawer. He hesitated for a moment before rummaging through the neatly organized papers, guilt tugging at his conscience. Among the files, one caught his eye. It was labeled Case Number 47, Confidential. Henrique opened it, his heart pounding. Inside, he found photos of his boss, Ricardo, with various people Henrique didn't recognize. There were notes scribbled in Julia's handwriting, wire transfers, offshore accounts, corruption investigation. His breath hitched. What does my boss have to do with Julia? Why is she investigating him? Henrique stared at the documents, his mind racing. The puzzle was far more complex than he had imagined. The sound of footsteps jolted him out of his thoughts. He hastily shoved the folder back into the drawer as Julia entered, her expression sharp. "What are you doing?" she demanded, crossing her arms. Henrique froze, caught red-handed. I needed to know, Julia. Who was that man at the cafe? And why are you investigating my boss? Julia's face softened slightly but remained guarded. Henrique, you have no idea what you've just gotten yourself into, she said, her tone weary. This isn't about you or us. It's bigger than that. Then tell me, Henrique pressed, his frustration bubbling to the surface. I deserve to know what's going on. Julia sighed, sitting down beside him. I can't explain everything right now, but you need to trust me. What I'm doing is for your own good. Julia paced the room, her frustration palpable. Henrique, you have no idea how much you've complicated things by digging into this. I've been trying to protect you. Protect me. Henrique snapped, his emotions finally boiling over. You've been sneaking around, meeting strangers, and withholding the truth from me. How is that protecting me? Julia stopped and faced him, her expression a mixture of anger and regret. I wasn't sneaking around. I was investigating your boss, Ricardo. He's involved in corruption, and the evidence I've been gathering is crucial to exposing him. Henrique blinked, caught off guard. Ricardo? That doesn't make any sense. He's been nothing but supportive to me. Supportive? Julia scoffed. He's been using you. Don't you see? You're part of his inner circle, Henrique. If his operation falls apart, you could get dragged down with him. Henrique took a step back, his mind spinning. Why didn't you just tell me? Why go behind my back like this? Julia's voice softened, but her resolve remained firm. Because I didn't know how you'd react. You trust Ricardo, and I couldn't risk you warning him, even unintentionally. I needed to act quickly and quietly. Henrique's anger began to waver, replaced by a growing sense of dread. So, all of this was to protect me? Julia nodded, her eyes pleading. I know I should have told you sooner. But Henrique, I need you to trust me now. I'm not your enemy, I'm trying to save you. Henrique looked at her, his emotions a tangled mess. The woman he had doubted and resented was now asking for his trust in the face of a truth he wasn't prepared to accept. Henrique sat in stunned silence as Julia explained the full extent of her investigation. The weight of her words pressed on him, corruption, fraud, and the intricate web his boss, Ricardo, had spun. It was all too much to take in, but one thing was clear. He couldn't stay on the sidelines anymore. I can't believe this, Henrique finally said, his voice filled with disbelief. Ricardo. He's always been someone I looked up to. And now you're telling me he's the mastermind behind all of this? Julia nodded, her expression somber. I know it's hard to process, but you have to trust me. The evidence I've gathered is solid. He's been using people like you, loyal employees, to cover his tracks. Henrique leaned forward, rubbing his temples. So what do we do now? If I keep working for him, I'm complicit. But if I try to confront him directly, it'll put you in danger, Julia finished for him. That's why we need to be strategic. I've been working on this for months, but with your help, we can gather the final pieces of evidence we need to take him down. Henrique hesitated. The idea of betraying someone he'd trusted for years made his stomach churn, but the thought of staying silent was even worse. He looked up at Julia, a spark of determination in his eyes. Okay. Tell me what I need to do. A flicker of relief crossed Julia's face, but her tone remained serious. This isn't going to be easy, Henrique. We'll need to be careful. Ricardo won't go down without a fight. But together we have a chance. As the two of them began to plan their next steps, Henrique felt a mix of fear and resolve. What had started as suspicion and doubt had now turned into a united front. They were in this together. The day of reckoning arrived sooner than Henrique and Julia had anticipated. Armed with evidence that exposed Ricardo's web of corruption, they entered the company boardroom together. Henrique's heart pounded as he faced his colleagues, all of whom had worked under Ricardo's influence for years. Ricardo entered with his usual confidence, but his expression shifted when he saw Julia by Henrique's side. "What is this?" he demanded, his voice sharp. Henrique stood tall, his voice steady despite the tension in the room. "This is the truth, Ricardo. We know what you've been doing, using the company to launder money, manipulating accounts, and implicating innocent employees in your schemes." Ricardo's face darkened, but he forced a laugh. "This is ridiculous. You have no proof." Julia stepped forward, placing a folder on the table. "Actually, we do. These documents, combined with eyewitness accounts, paint a very clear picture of your crimes." The room fell silent as Henrique and Julia presented their case, each piece of evidence unraveling Ricardo's carefully constructed facade. By the end, there was no denying the truth. Ricardo, cornered and exposed, had no choice but to resign as authorities were informed of his illegal activities. As the dust settled, Henrique turned to Julia, gratitude and admiration in his eyes. "I'm sorry for doubting you," he said softly. "I should have trusted you from the start." Julia smiled, her relief evident. "It wasn't easy, but we made it through. Together." Their bond, tested by shadows of suspicion and fear, emerged stronger than ever. As they walked out of the building, Henrique felt a renewed sense of purpose. The fight for justice had united them, proving that even in the face of betrayal, loyalty could prevail. It's great to see you here. Tell me in the comments what you thought of the story and what level of difficulty it was for you. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, activate the bell so you don't miss new stories, and like if you liked it. I'll see you next time. Bye.